Well, how did I happen to do this film was the question. As a gay man, I was not seeing a lot of role models, and it wasn't that they weren't there, they're everywhere. It's just that there was such a disconnect. They were invisible to me, what was going on, and as I looked into it, I learned that we fade into the background the older we get a lot of times. Many of us do, at least many more than our straight counterparts. And so looking up, we don't see examples of long-term relationships, successful lives, and things like that. So we start to have an internal dialogue in ourselves when people say, you're not entitled to be married. Maybe they're right. I don't see a lot of lifelong relationships. Of course, on the outside, you say, no, that's wrong. But on the inside, not having examples gives you an internal, questioning. And what that really made me feel was angry, because the oppression and the discrimination that has caused that for people in the past is affecting me now and affecting people who are younger than I am. It's just being passed on because we don't have the examples in the same amount of numbers as our straight counterparts. And I think that there needs to be, 1,000 conversations a day across this country between a younger LGBT person and an older LGBT person to create this historical connection, intergenerational connection. And we have learned that the bullies that are there at the beginning of life are waiting for you on the back end. And this time you can't necessarily fight, and you can't run away. Sometimes they're your roommates. Sometimes you have to pass them in the hall, just like you did when you were in high school. So what's important to do, and is happening to answer your question, is to create a policy that starts with the staff and empowers the staff to be able to say that we don't do that here. We don't pick on people. We don't call them out for their sexuality or their gender preference or their gender identity. But it's important to start from the top down with that and make it a cultural change within the community. And a lot of times what happens is that over the course of time, safe spaces develop. And in fact, one of the things that I advocate when I get up here is, why not start a gay-straight alliance in some of these places? Just like we have in high schools, where there's a safe space, there are allies and gay people who welcome potential new residents or potential new home care, users of home care services, just to let them know, hey, it's cool here. And by the way, we play cards every Wednesday night and, or whatever, watch American Idol. So I hope that answers your question. There's a lot of good work going on with that. Yes. Unfortunately, there's a movement in this country toward moral objection and laws that allow you to morally object, to give abortions, to prescribe certain medications in certain states. What that does is that empowers people to, maybe I'll morally object too, or at least I'll call in sick the day that we're going to do this training as a way of sending a signal to my executive director that I don't agree with this at all, And in the meantime, I see on the ground that what that does is harms an older person who's going to remain isolated. It's the same thing with the marriage debate. It's not a debate. When I go out and I see an older person, an older couple just trying to get survivor benefits, it becomes very real. It would be very difficult for almost any individual to spend a half hour with an older gay couple facing Medicare impoverishment because they don't have the same rights as a married couple. To sit there and say, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to allow you to survive. It's gotten me to put my own house in order. I think my parents would disagree that it's out of order, but it was for a while. We all are estranged to a certain degree for a variety of different reasons, and we all have to decide when the chips are down, who's going to take care of us. It was a great evening. Thank you. Thank you. Good job.